All right, so we have an elevation. Let's talk now about a section cut. Okay, so let's look into a command some of you guys may be familiar with, some of you guys maybe not. Let's go ahead and create a, let's go ahead and I'm gonna rename this layer right here. I'm gonna call it clip plane. Clip plane. I'm gonna make it active. And let's look into the command which is called clipping plane. Okay, clipping plane up here. Enter. So it says first corner of rectangle. Okay, so we actually want to do a horizontal section cut. We actually want to slice this model somewhere there and look downwards. All right, or maybe lower, right? But the idea is that we want to create a horizontal cut, and then we want to look again downwards. And check this out. I have these lines right here that actually represents what we're about to do, which is the clipping plane, right? Which is the clipping plane. And it's actually, we're actually need to draw a rectangle, but you'll see that it's a little bit counterintuitive because if we need to cut a section here so that we can look down, we actually need to draw it, right, on that view, which is here. I'm sorry, we need to draw it on the top view, which is where we actually would see it. And we're actually going to draw a little rectangle like this on the top view. And you'll see how that's going to help us. All right, so it'll make more sense there. All right, so it's asking us for first corner of a rectangle. And it can be something little. So I'm going to draw a rectangle right there. And we have that right there. Okay, so I just drew it looks like a rectangle, but it's actually a clipping plane. Now, you'll see that in 3D, that clipping plane is here. And I'm going to turn off my, well, actually, I'll leave it on. I have my grid snap on. But, right, if I start moving, right, in increments, you see how the model appears and disappears. And actually, I am going to turn off the grid snap so that I can actually do more fluid right here. So that's good. That's great. But it'd be great if we actually can see that in all of the viewports, not only in the from view as we're doing it right now, and we can, right? So we actually can see the clipping plane. It's in all of the viewports, and I'll highlight it, right? So I'll select it, and you see somewhere over here. Right, so it's actually hidden behind right there. And you actually can see the effects of that clipping plane in any viewport. We just need to habilitate it. We need to turn it on, technically speaking, or figuratively speaking. So we select that perspective viewport. We go to visibility right here, tab. And then you have these two options right here. You can add a clipping plane, which we did, and you can have multiple clipping planes, which is pretty cool actually. And then you can also disable or enable the clipping plane. So if I select that clipping plane on the perspective view or on the viewport that I need to habilitate it, and I enable it, notice that now I shift that. And now if I move that clipping plane, I see objects appear and disappear as I move such clipping plane. And that's what I meant, that you need to draw it. You need to draw the rectangle on the top view, or in the top view, so that we can actually move this right here. So let's do a cut. And like, for example, right here on the right viewport, you see that it's not enabled. It would be the same deal. So it's selected, the clipboard, the clipping plane is selected. Let's make sure that you habilitate the right viewport and you enable it. And you see that now we have that enabled in every viewport except for the viewport, top viewport, which actually it actually we need to do that as well. So I'll enable it here as well, because if you keep your eyes on this right corner, upper right, and as I move that clipping plane again, you see the different drawing basically that it gets generated, which is actually pretty cool. And it's a great tool to visualize a model. Okay, so let's say that I want to do a horizontal cut, kind of like there, right? Kind of like there. Although I'm not gonna have a lot of line weights per se. Maybe we'll go a little bit up so that we get more, right? Kind of like that, right? So it's about a you know, three quarters of a height. All right. Let's go ahead and draw a section cut for that one. And the way that we can do that is if we go to the top view and we repeat the operation, right? We type make 2D, enter, select these objects right here, enter. You can leave the settings as you see on my screen right here, click OK. And again, go to your top view right away, move this out of the way over here, right, and bring it over here. You should end up with a section cut, but not really. And that's actually something that I wanted to talk about, because these are all great tools, but there needs to be some editing here. And go ahead and do that. Okay. So what do I mean by that? Well, you know now from architecture school the technical qualities of these drawings. So we're going to need line weights, or we're going to need a fill as well. All right, we're going to need some sort of a fill. So we actually see that this line, for example, is it that one? No, it's this one right here. That line, it actually is a line that is within the model. It's that line right there, if I'm not mistaken. But we technically don't do that because we don't need that, because technically what we want to do is we want to be able to fill all of this in. Remember when you were doing your fills for your drawings by hand? So we fill that in, right? Fill it in, right? Fill it in. So we can start editing this drawing. So we can actually select that line, get rid of it. There's another extra line over here that we don't need, which is that edge right there, which I think it's this one over there, so I can delete it. And I think that's it. Okay. Let's go ahead and create and probably I'll put right here. Well, within this line weight layers, let's go ahead and create a new layer and call it fill. Right. Fill. And we'll leave it. We'll do actually like a dark gray, like a charcoal, like that right there. Okay. Let's go ahead and make it active. And we're going to learn a new command that it's called hatch. Maybe new for a few. And what we want to do, as this right here, select curves. We actually want to select the curves that outline that boundary. Right click. And you see how it gives us options. For right now, we want it solid. And you see how we can actually apply different hatch patterns and different options right here. For right now, let's just leave it with the layer color. All right, so I just click OK. And what are we doing? Well, we're actually filling in the what? The cuts, right? So select that right there. Okay. And I can select this one over here. and that's my fill, right? So you see right here, I'm using my perspective drawing to edit to tune my horizontal perspective right here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and assign line weights. Okay. I'm gonna turn off. I'm gonna go back to, let's say, this P2. Let me hide the fill layer, because actually first I actually want to select these lines right here, and I'm gonna assign them a, let's say, a P5, which is a 0.8. Right, so really thick. And why is it that thick? Because those are cut lines, and that is going to again contrast that fill. And again, if I turn that hatch on, right, you see that complement between the hatch, gray hatch, and the black outline. And then from there, the next lines that are in the proximity from the top as a viewer would be, I think, this one's right here, whatever is in this plane right here and whatever is in this plane over here, right? So using my perspective drawing as a guide, I can find those, or attempt to find those. So I think it would be this one, this one, this one, this one, and probably this one over here. So I already used my 0.8, so I'm going to do a 0.5 over here, assign that. Yeah. And I think those are the only ones on that plane. Okay. Next, I'm going to do this slope that I have right here with a different line weight, which is these two lines right here. So I'm going to do, let's see, 0.3. See, hopefully I have enough pens. If not, we'll see, 0.3. And actually, this other face as well, it's also, I would say, in the same sort of level elevation, right? So that would be these two lines over here. So I can select those to 0.3. And then I think the only ones that we have left are the ones in the very bottom, which are this face, and that face right there, which is these, right? So I can hold Control Shift and highlight them. And I can do a point, I think we're at 0.13, no? Let's see. 0.3, 0.3, 0.5, 0.3, and 0.13. I think so, right? So you have the right layers right here. So this now becomes my my horizontal section cut. Now let's recall and let's see if in this case it applies, right? So if I actually disable that cut, right, and actually can see it right here, we've learned that we should also denote the objects that are above us in these cuts. And the way that we do that, or the way that we can do that, it's well, how? That's right, with dashed lines, right? So in this case, I see a few. Okay, I see a few. So in my and again, this probably should actually be called pens rather than line weights, because we're gonna throw in here. We'll do it as a, let's see, as a 0.13. So we're gonna create a new layer, sub layer. We're gonna call it for right now dash. And here's the thing though, we're going to give it now a different line type. We're going to make it rather than being continuous, we click there. This menu appears. We'll do a hidden line, which we talked about that, and that's another name for this dash lines, hidden lines. And again, rather than default line weight, we're going to give it a thinner, right, 0.13. All right. We're going to make it active. And we're going to draw a line, right? Line enter from here to here. And I'm going to do a polyline, right? From here, right, to there. I'm using my smart guy, and to there. Okay. And we have these lines. Okay, so are they the right layer? Yes. Let's see. Why does this dash line doesn't? We see the lines, but they should be dashed, right? Let's see. It could be a couple of options. So if we go to print display one more time. So let's change this to print. So it's right there. State on. Okay. No, that's not it. So then we can do what's called line type display. Display line types, yes. And pattern by segments, yes. Let's do let's do something really large. Let's do 100. No, let's do 0.1. Okay. We'll see why these dashed lines are not showing here. Hopefully in our print, when we go to our layout, they are visible. But from what I can see, they are on the right line type and they are on the print width. See if we change it. Dash. Hidden. Okay. We'll leave it at hidden. They seem to be in the right layer. I'm not sure we could see it. Line type display. Display line types. Yes. Yes. Pattern segment, braid ankle. Okay. All right. Well, we'll catch up. Maybe it's a good place to pause. So, and again, I just want to again highlight how we are using a 3D object to generate 2D drawings with multiple commands in Rhino. Okay, so let's try that. Try to now generate a section cut, a horizontal section cut, and we'll follow. We'll continue from there. All right.